I would like to introduce our first speaker, who is Liz Goldstein. Liz is going to be talking about the COVID policy, the placement contracts, the duties, monthly reports, and Digital Cheetah. A little bit about Liz. As you probably know, Liz currently serves as Executive Vice President for the JLP. She joined the JLP in January of 2016 as a transfer from the Junior League of the City of New York. Throughout her league career in Phoenix, she has served as a number of leadership positions, including social assistant, social coordinator, provisional advisor, and membership VP. She also started 2 affinity groups for the JLP, and they're both running strong all the time, the book club and the moviegoers. Liz attended what we call ODI, International Organization Development Institute, run by AGLI in 2017. And she received the Mary Harriman Community Service Award in 2018. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you, Jill, and thank you to everyone for taking the time to be here. We really appreciate it, and thank you for saying yes to leadership. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the COVID-19 policy. And as Jill had already mentioned, we are looking to update this, as the CDC guidelines get updated. And so this is being monitored regularly by the board of directors. And the latest version of the COVID-19 policy can always be found on the homepage of Digital Cheetah. So when you sign into jlp.org, you will see it on the homepage. And that is the latest version, is whatever is living on that homepage. Just to let you know, we have made a new update this past week that we are requiring masks at indoor gatherings, unless you are the speaker, right? If you are actively speaking or eating or drinking, then you can take your mask down momentarily, but we are asking that all attendees at indoor events wear a mask otherwise. So now I'm going to go into the placement contract, duties, and monthly reports. So as you probably know, we do start monthly reports in August and they run through April. And these are the responsibility of each committee to submit. And really the idea behind the monthly reports is to make sure that we are communicating with each other and with the management team on what is coming up, right? So how have you been using your budget? What have you been doing towards the annual plan? Is there anything that you would think that the management team should know? But it really isn't meant to be an opportunity for you to wait and ask a timely question. It really is more of a reporting back about what y'all have been working on and what you've been learning as a leader that's applicable to other areas of your life. But if it is something that's timely, make sure that you ask your VP in real time versus waiting for the monthly report, because we want y'all to feel supported and we don't want you to potentially be waiting 3 or 4 weeks to get an answer. Our placement contracts, all members do agree to a universal placement contract when they accept their position during the placement season. However, we have found that when committees have a more detailed placement contract, then it helps set expectation for the members. So they know, hey, I need to come to 75% of the committee meetings, or hey, I'm on Rockets and I do need to organize one of the first Fridays, as Jill had referred to earlier, or, I am expected to sit on a subcommittee. So there are ways that you can make it more transparent for your members so that they know exactly what is expected of them in order for them to get placement credit. And placement credit is a requirement for our active members. So we want to make sure that we are communicating with them regularly and that they know if they're on track. And if they're not on track to get placement credit, what do we need to do to help them get on track? So for example, maybe they have conflicts on Tuesday nights, and Tuesday nights are when your committee meetings are. Well, are there ways for them to work on things on their own time? Or maybe they can meet with their subcommittees on a different day, and then someone from the subcommittee reports back on what that member has been doing. So we don't want to set a member up to fail from the beginning by not having those set expectations and by not working with them to see how we can support them during the year. And so again, that's really the idea behind the duties, the reports, the contracts. And I know that's a lot I threw at you, so definitely ask questions if you have them, and we will make sure that they will be answered. So the next thing is to go over Digital Cheetah, which as a leader, you use it in a different way than you would as a regular member. And so I really want to talk about why we utilize Digital Cheetah and some differences and kind of go over some step-by-step directions. Really what we want to do is we want to use Digital Cheetah to store information and to communicate to our committees, because people on that committee in the future can access it, right? So you want to be able to provide the future people running that committee access to what you've worked on in the past. And so that helps ensure that that information continues to be handed down and passed down. So I do all of my email communication to my team through Digital Cheetah. I do all of my meeting event requests through Digital Cheetah. We upload files through Digital Cheetah. So there's a lot of ways that we utilize it to set people up for success in the future. The only thing I wouldn't utilize it for is if it is a private conversation that you want to have with someone, because again, what you put on Digital Cheetah is public. And so we will also be talking about the app and how to utilize the app through, okay. So really, how do we utilize Digital Cheetah? So it is, again, it's a resource that allows us to have historical access, and we can upload agendas, we can create events, we can upload files, you can email your team. You can also print an attendance sheet as well. And really, again, it's just to help have that historical data for the future. So help us help you. And so the way that you actually access, and again, these slides will be handed out to you afterwards, so don't feel like you have to memorize this, but the way that you get access to previous years is that when you go on to the homepage of Digital Cheetah, you'll be able to go to the drop down for groups, and you'll be able to select a previous year for the committee that you sit on. You can see how it has my groups at the top, and you can see how under there it has all the groups I can access for previous years. Okay. So again, so the app, Seeing Spot is the app, and it's a great way to sign up for shifts. You can easily sign up for a shift on the calendar. And we also utilize it at in-person GMMs to scan out of the GMM at the end, which gives you credit. But I really utilize Digital Cheetah on desktop on a regular computer for everything else. It's hard to do things through the app if it is anything that you're trying to look up on forms and docs, or if you're trying to send an email or something like that. It's too hard through the app, I found. So I really, again, just recommend the app for shifts, and then for scanning out at the GMMs, and then using it on your computer for everything else. So how do you send an email through Group Share? And again, if you're a new leader, you wouldn't know how to do this because it's not something that a regular committee member has access to. So you sign on to Digital Cheetah through the homepage at jlp.org. You navigate to your group, and on the right side of the homepage, you click on the group that you want to email. So that would be your committee. And then you navigate to email on the right side of the page under Administrative Actions, and you deselect any Group Share members you don't want to email. So maybe there is someone who maybe you only want to email like a subcommittee, right? And you don't want to email everyone. Then you would just deselect who you don't want to email. And then you start a new thread if you want to open it to discussion. And then you can also allow for them to CC as well if you want them to be able to reply all. And then you write the email and you send it. And then it's stored in Digital Cheetah. If you want to go to the next slide. So how do you add an event? How do you add that, that committee meeting that you have coming up? Again, you sign on to Digital Cheetah. You navigate to My Groups on the right side of the homepage. You click on the group you want to send an invitation to. You navigate to Add Event on the right side of the page under Administrative Actions. The information is at the top, is what will appear in the description on Digital Cheetah. And then you indicate the type of event. I always choose RSVP because it allows you to know who is and isn't attending. And they can also put comments in there. So for example, they can tell you if they're attending virtually or if they're attending in person. And then I always also select the reminder is automated, but you can add additional automated reminders. And I really always like to do that too, because I think people can't get reminded enough. This event will only appear on the calendar for the people in your group. So it won't be something that everyone in the league can see. It's only the people in that group share with you that will be able to see that event that you added. So how do you check the RSVPs for an event you scheduled? So like everything else, you sign on to Digital Cheetah, you navigate to My Groups on the right side of the homepage, you click on the group to whom you sent the invitation, you click on the event itself, and it can also be found through your recent group activity or calendar. And then you scroll to the bottom of the event details and click on Admin, Manage Event Details, Reservations, and Attendance. And so that's how you can pull the sign-in sheet and see who actually is attending. And as you can see, it will say comments as well. So that's when you know if someone had something that they wanted to share as to maybe why they aren't attending, or again, if they want to tell you if they're going to be there virtually or in person. So that's very helpful from a planning perspective. So you're going to go to the next slide. So how do you upload a file? So you go to My Groups on the right side of the homepage and you click on the group you want to upload the file to. And at the top under the group name, you'll navigate to files and you'll upload the file, or you'll create a new category. So under new parent category, you can't upload a file without having a category for it to go under. So it will give you an error if there isn't that parent category. So for example, I take the reports that y'all submit and I actually upload them under my reports for everyone to be able to access. And so you'll see it will say committee, monthly committee reports. And under that, I actually upload each file. And then another parent category is the monthly management team reports, and then upload each file underneath that. So all of y'all have access to those reports. You can see what people have said. You can see what other groups are doing. And that is something where, again, you have to have the parent category, and then you can upload the files under the parent category. Next slide. So how do you print a sign-in sheet? So if you are, maybe you're managing a committee or community shift and you want to have that sign-in sheet, or you're having a hybrid event in person and you want to be able to track who was there in person versus through Zoom, we can pull reports on the back end as well as utilize the chat. But when you're in person, you need to know who was there. So how do you do that? You navigate to the designated event you want to pull a sign-in sheet for, and you have to have the permissions to do so. And at the top, you select Manage, and then you go to Event, People, Sign-in Sheet. And again, these directions will be handed out to everyone following this presentation, but those are extremely important to know because you will have to track who has attended in person for anything that's for credit. All right, next slide.
That was the last slide we have there.
All right, great. Thanks, Liz. We do have a few minutes for questions. Not a few minutes. We do have some time for questions. So if you have them, please send them to Kristen Nordine in the chat, and we will get to them. But while you are doing that, I just want to emphasize one thing that Liz had talked about, and that was sending an email through Digital Cheetah. Digital Cheetah will save all the emails that you send. So if you need to remind a committee member when you sent something, you can say, oh, I sent it on April 15th, and then she should be able to go into her Digital Cheetah emails and be able to find it rather than having to maybe look through her email box. Like my email box is very messy. So whenever I need something I know went through Digital Cheetah, that's the first place I look. And you can get to that through your page when you go to, I guess, member page and then profile. There should be a bunch of tabs, and then one of them is email. Kristen or Nikki, do we have any other additional questions for Liz at this time?
We have no questions at the time.
Okay. Well, thanks again, Liz.
Thank you. And always feel free to reach out if you have any questions following. I'm happy to answer them. Kristen, if you can just put my email address in the chat for anyone who wants to reach out. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.